me something. Here's another jewel that Dr. Clark gave.
Mm-hmm.
He said, always know the difference between people in powerful positions and people in positions of power.
Mm. Mm. You gotta
And
break
by
that
that,
down for me.
okay, I'll give you an example back in the Board of Education. There was a time before this happened when my work was really embraced by the community. Okay.
Right.
And we had, at the time, the school district was literally run by the community,
Mm-hmm.
community-based educators. And we had 9 community members. And to get anything passed, you needed 5 as a quorum. And I had 5 African American, Hispanic American members that liked my style. They respected what I was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, if I wanted, and then they were the ones that chose who the superintendent was. So the superintendent was the one that ran the 35 schools, but it was the community school board that put the superintendent in that position. Okay?
Mm.
There was one time I wanted to do a program. It cost $35,000.
Right.
Now, my job was to go to the superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that he was in a powerful position.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew what that superintendent would tell me is, I'm going to go and I'll speak to the community school board for this idea. So what I did, realizing the difference between a powerful position, because it was the community school board members that were in positions of power.
Mm.
So before I went to the superintendent, I went to the 5 community board members and said, look, I got a program, $35,000. This is what I'd like to do. I would do a presentation. I would lay it out for them. I would show them where every dollar was going to go for the children.
Right, right.
Next thing I knew, after that meeting, I'm in my office. I get a call from the superintendent. Now, I hadn't spoken to him about this program. I only spoke to the community school board members. So I get a call from the superintendent. He says, listen, Booker T, I'm very interested in a program the community school board was telling us, and we found that at $35,000. He said, in fact, I got another $5,000 for you. So he gave me $40,000 to implement a cultural program for the children.
Right.
The superintendent is in a powerful position, but the community school board were in positions of power. You never negotiate with the powerful position, because the powerful position will always have to go back to the person in the position of power. I'm going to tell you a second story.
Go ahead. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Because I want to demonstrate what I'm saying to you. Because this will solve a lot of problems we have.
And this is giving me flashbacks, Bob, because a lot of times when I realize and thinking back in life that I went to the wrong person when I should have been going to somebody else. So
that's right.
This is definitely okay.
Okay. And a lot of time we waste our time going to people that are going to have to go to other people. Here's an example.
Ah, man.
I'm in Florida, and I'm working with Nana before Amant Kwatia, Asa Hilliard. He and I worked in Florida for about 5 years together in Fort Lauderdale, developing a curriculum. Okay. And we're invited to go to lunch. Asa worked with the principals and the administrators. I worked with the teachers. That's how we divided it up. And they invited us to lunch. And we got there. They picked us up. They took us to the restaurant, really nice restaurant. And this is where I learned something about Brother Dr. Asa. Because when he looked at the menu, he said, oh, they got cream of chicken soup. And he said, I love any type of cream of anything soup. And he looked at me and smiled. And I looked back, I smiled back at him. The person that was convening the lunch meeting was the deputy superintendent. It was a brother, the deputy superintendent. And I was young, man. Like, you know, like you're going back to the 90s, early 90s.
Right.
Okay, I'm young. I'm on fire, brother. I'm nowhere near where I am now. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm on fire, brother. Okay, and so I'm rattling off all these questions to the director of social studies, the director of multicultural education, the deputy superintendent. I'm just doing my thing, going back, man, and I'm asking good questions.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally I look over to Dr. Asa, and Asa would be eating his soup, smiling the whole time. Okay,
right.
smiling and, listening. Didn't open his mouth.
Mm.
We used to meet in the Days Inn cafeteria every morning to chart our day.
Right.
Okay, we had lunch. We went back. Okay, day's over. Next day is there, and Asa Hilliard and I meet in the Days Inn.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, man, you was asking some good questions yesterday." I said, "Yeah, I just wanted to get into it." He said, "Yeah, you asking some really good questions." He said, "But let me tell you something. Now, here's another Godfather moment. Here's another master teacher jewel that he dropped on me."
Mm.
He said, "Whenever you go to a meeting and the one in charge is not there, nothing is going to get done."
Mm.
Because if it was going to get done, the superintendent would have been there. He wouldn't have sent his deputy.
Right.
Because now the deputy had to go back to the superintendent. You see, the position of power and powerful position.
Right.
So all that talking I was doing, all that questioning I was doing, didn't mean a thing.
Right. Wasting time.
The lunch was only there to say, we took him to lunch.
Yeah. Wasting time and energy.
That was it. Well, Asa said, "But I did enjoy that soup."